What's up, guys? Dragonkin here. So I've got a really long drive ahead of me, and I've been meaning to make this video on how I got the name Dragonkin, what led me to the name. Now, whenever I joined the page, I have an affiliation with dragons, which will definitely be explained in this video. And I also have had a past of dealing with the Otherkin community in ways that not many people will even understand or grasp. Now, a lot of that's in my past now. I actually had to go to a court case because of some of the shit that happened to me. So I wanted to go into my experience with the Otherkin community and where the name Dragonkin came from. So this goes back to, I want to say, preteen to like 13 age is where this starts. I was a social outcast in my town. I lived in a small suburban town outside of Pittsburgh, in East Pittsburgh. And I grew up being bullied, being harassed, and being a nerd. So the one thing that I really clung to with that was dragons. I had this affiliation with these creatures that were part lizards, that could fly, that had these mystical powers. The fascination for them was immense. I loved every single thing about dragons. I also was hugely into science fiction, not science fiction, hard fantasy, Lord of the Rings was one of my favorite movie series growing up. I loved playing just anything that had to do with like RPG, fantasy, Tolkien, D&D, any of those kinds of things, anything that had dragons in them, I was immediately attracted to. I'm still such a huge fan of dragon lore, books on dragons. Like, if you talk to me about dragons and like the different dragons from different countries, it's something that interests me to this day. Even going into religion, with the Roman Catholic Church, having dragons on some of their old monuments, it's such a sticking point to me. So whenever I was growing up, I had this huge affiliation with dragons. Now, I had these social issues, and the way that I tend to work out problems, and I still do this, is I talk to myself. I talk to myself in different perspectives. I will look at myself and be like, okay, so angry me would say this kind of thing. Non-emotional me, very logical me would do this. Where's the middle ground? What should I do? If you put me in a room and you have me sit and think about different problems for hours, I'm going to think of the emotional side. I'm going to think of the guttural, angry side. I have all of these different sections of my brain that I was able to separate out. And all of those characteristics, whenever I was younger, I guess took form as different things. So whenever I was questioning religion and I was talking to my priest about different things, I went to a church that heavily believed in exorcism and heavily believed that there were demon issues. I met an exorcist whenever I was younger, and someone in the church actually told me that I might have a demon inside me, things like that. So growing up, I had that mindset, and then I also had this affiliation with dragons. And then on top of that, if you go through the Bible, there are dragons within the Bible. So it wasn't without reason that I would be able to say, well, maybe my demon is a dragon. So, fast forward some years, I'm dealing with all these issues, and I meet a group of goths whenever I'm living in Arizona. I'm dealing with the new change, the new environment, and this girl is completely infatuated with me. This person that I'm talking about later abused me, blackmailed me, spread a rumor that I was a rapist, just every single horrible thing this person did to me. But this person was like, hey, you're really cute and all this stuff, and I was into gothic stuff. I was very into punk stuff. So I had we called it the trio. I had an emo friend, I was the punk rock friend, and then my other friend was the gothic friend. So we kind of had this trio going on. So the emo gothic girl that was into me, she was like, hey, what do you know about magic and all this other stuff? And I just told her that I'm very religious whenever it comes to Christianity. However, I do believe that there's other things. So she introduced me to this guy, and I'm not going to name his name. I will call him by one of his nicknames, which was Court. So Court, which is also short for a longer name, I'm just going with Court, okay? So Court introduced me to what he called the Guild, or the 888, or Triple Infinity. So what it was a group of people that believe that one day magic will come back. And within this group, there was also a sect of Otherkins. Now, at this time, I was having crazy insomnia issues. I had depression issues. I was never on medication. I was sleeping about 2 to 4 hours every night. I was physically exhausting my body every day because I did sports, and then I would study, and then I wouldn't be able to sleep. And then on top of that, you have me studying religion, you have me studying fantasy. Eventually it led to them convincing me that I might have dragons as my Otherkin symbol. Now, back at this point in time, it wasn't that you are a dragon or you are this. You are a human first, but you were carrying the souls of the past. So, or in a different realm. So there's different realms. It went really, really deep into different things. There's a lot of different things you can study on all this. But I'm just giving you guys the very basic thing. And I know the more I'm talking, the more insane I'm sounding. It's actually something that I barely talk to people about because I know how insane this all sounds. So, you're a human first, and then whatever animal or spirit or different type, some people are just humans. Some people might have a different past. I won't go into too much about what he was. He believed that he had a couple different spirits inside of him. The girl I was dating at the time, the emo girl, believed that she had wolves, and they put me as dragons. And I kind of had a skeptical mind, but I was like, you know what, I can talk to these things in my head. Maybe there's something there. And the priest I talked to believed that everyone has... The priest down there that I talked to also believed that everyone has certain powers, good and evil. And if you tap into your evil, you're going to go to hell, but you might have incredible powers while you're on Earth. And that might just be pure luck, pure, like basically greed is a real thing. If you're able to dive in deep into greed, you might not be rewarded in the afterlife, but you might be able to be like a Donald Trump or like a George Soros or something like that. So whenever I told him different things that I was experiencing and how I was able to split my own mind and be able to talk to myself like that, he thought that was either a power of good or a power of evil. He knew how religious I was, so he wasn't sure which one it was. This later, I need to explain this too. This later just became me realizing that I figure out problems in a different way, and that I was putting a name and a face and a creature to the thing I was talking to inside my own head. Now, I'm able to just be like, okay, sit down, think it out. And I can still talk to myself, but it's not like an insane person anymore. I think a lot of that became due to the fact that I don't have as heavy depression spells anymore, and I also don't have as bad of insomnia. I had pretty horrible insomnia whenever I was younger. I went to a psychologist, all this stuff, to get all of that worked out. But eventually I found that meditation was what actually cured it. So, I go through that, and I'm learning all of these different things, and I'm learning spellcraft, I'm learning how to do exorcisms, I'm learning every single thing, and while I'm doing that, I'm talking to different people within the community. Now, I'm not going to talk badly on a few of the people that I still know in it, that believe in magic. I know a couple people that are very spiritual that believe in magic, and I know a lot of people that abandoned the guild but still think that something might happen in the future. I have no idea. Again, I'm an atheist. I don't really talk to them about this stuff in the past anymore. So, going through it, I not only became a member, I became a leader. Whenever it came to learning how to meditate, whenever it came to learning how to channel a lot of your energy and your chi and different things like that, I became a teacher. The person, Court, who ran it became one of my best friends, and just made me one of the leaders. He saw a lot of potential in me, he said, and we grew. Now, I should also mention, this wasn't a small group of people, too. Whenever I'm saying, oh, there was like a small guild, I'm picturing, you're thinking maybe 8 people. I think at one point we had 50 within a 200-mile radius believing in this. So maybe a couple of them were skeptical. I know a few of them that are still 100% in it. I still know a guy who thinks that he's a fallen angel. I know that the leader literally sent me a message, I think 2 months ago, asking if I want to rejoin after I disavowed everything. Like, I'm that deep in it. I was that deep in it. So this group was recruiting heavily, and the leader was very manipulative. He's very well spoken. He's completely insane, and he's, well, not completely insane, but he's very good at his his mannerisms, his words, and knows how to get people to that question anything to join. We had a few people that were atheists that kind of wanted to look into it. I'd say we had a successful recruitment rate of about 1/4. So if 4 people came in, 1 would stay. Which, when dealing with Otherkin things, and this was back in 2000, I want to say 2010 at this point. Maybe 2011. But whenever you're dealing with Otherkin things and your recruitment rate is that high and convincing people that they have demons or something like that, it's extremely crazy. Now, I always told people, what the hell? Okay, I need to speed up. There's a tractor trailer on my ass. Anyway, now I would always tell people to stay skeptical about everything that he says because I knew he was lying about a lot. The guy who ran it was saying a lot of really, really crazy things that were obvious to just being a manipulator. Whenever I talked to people that were heavily religious in my Catholic and Christian group that tried to do exorcisms, they believed that he had what they called a chaotic demon. So they believed that he was able to tap into his own power, and this demon was able to get people to follow him to cause chaos. The amount of chaos in this guy's life was immense, and just almost everything around him would eventually fall apart. So I would tell people that were joining, I'm like, hey, even if you believe in spirituality, this is a really good way to get into spiritual learning. It's a really good way to learn how to meditate. I still use a couple of the practices that I had back then whenever it comes to meditation, whenever it comes to focusing energy and focusing my mind, and I can still sit down and have these logic conversations with myself. So I saw all this, and while the Otherkin community was very accepting, it also had a lot of bad turning points. So whenever I disavowed being an Otherkin, and this was due to not only me becoming more self-aware of what was going on in my own life, what was going on in my own head, and realizing that most of these people needed psychiatric help, or to just wake up, I was able to back out of it, and I backed out of it hard. I was able to convince, I think, 2 or 3 people to go get mental help and go see psychologists. And I still have contact with a few members that were part of the guild, or I should say ex-members. One of my friends still calls me and asks me for spiritual advice. Whenever it comes to meditation, whenever it comes to lining themselves up. And they still trust me with those kinds of things, even though they know that I'm completely agnostic about it all. Anyway, I disavowed it, but I was still friends with some of the people, including the leader. The leader and I became close friends whenever it came to gaming. And him and I are still friends, which is why he was sending me a message if I want to rejoin. But I would never go back. It's why I focus so heavily on making fun of Otherkins, because I don't want others to experience the manipulation and the issues that came with it. Now, I do want to talk about one really good thing about Otherkins that I don't see in the community now. That if it was there, it would be at least one positive thing, but I never see it. Which was the idea of training your body to be like whatever spirituality thing that you had. And I'm going through a tunnel, so this might be a little loud. But, okay. Let's say you were a wolf. Why would a wolf want to live in a really, really shitty human's body? Why would a wolf want to sit on a couch and just stare at a TV and get fat, eat Doritos, and not do anything? A wolf wouldn't want to do that. A wolf would want to go out and adventure and explore and run and be the alpha. Whenever wolves are being in a pack, they strive to be the alpha male. So why wouldn't you want to be an alpha male? Why wouldn't you want to go out there and train your body to be the strongest it can be, the fastest it can be, to be able to go out and go hunting, to go out and do these things? A lot of Otherkins I've seen are vegans, and that doesn't make any sense to me, being that a lot of them would want to go eat meat. Whenever I see a demon king on Tumblr, and these really fat, ugly kind of people, they are like completely social outcast. And one of the things that our guild focused on was full like military level training. If you're a demon, you should be able to pick people up by one hand and throw them against walls. So you should be able to just grab someone and throw them. So obviously you need to be working out every single day. Me and the people in this group 2-3 times a week would go out on runs, go out and practice free running. I got into gymnastics due to this group. One of the reasons was, if I'm a Dragonkin, wouldn't I want to be on a perch looking down on things? Wouldn't I want to be flexible and agile but still strong? So each group had different goals. Like if you were Wolfkin, you would go out on runs and you would lift weights. If you were Dragonkin, you would become a free runner and work on climbing buildings, on scaling things, on doing runs in the night to train your eyes. Like, we focused so hard on training our bodies extremely hard because of what we believed in. That was another thing that, like, at least, that was one of the only positive things about this entire experience of doing that kind of stuff, was the physical aspect. And that was also one of the reasons why I stayed with the group for so long. That one of the reason why that guild was so successful was it made you feel better. Obviously, working out is an antidepressant. So if, you know, you're going out, and I learned how to do front flips, I learned how to do back flips, I was climbing buildings, I was doing crazy things. I had climbed on top of roofs, I was conquering my fear of heights at the time too. So now whenever I get into like enclosed spaces on like high perches, if you tell me to climb up something, I have almost zero fear of it. Whenever I started, I had this immense fear of falling and dying. But by training my body to that level, I was able to not have those fears anymore. Oddly, the best physical shape I was in was whenever I was with this group. And that goes to show a lot. That there was at least this one positive thing. And I would say that building of confidence, the group support, the wanting to be included in the things. While I was very skeptical, I was very much saying, well, I'm not sure if any of this is true the entire time. And I kind of questioned it. I wanted it to be true for the longest time because of how good it made me feel. Now, at that same point in time, that girl was abusing me, but whenever I left that relationship, which part of the reason I left that relationship was due to my body getting stronger and me growing self-confidence, I was able to get past that. I was able to know that I had worth myself. So I want to at least portray that there was one good positive thing. Now, whenever I see the Tumblrite, SJW groups of Otherkins that are very much just trying to have some kind of extra identity, that aren't doing anything to improve their own lives. They're just saying, oh, I relate to the wolves because I'm a lone wolf, because I'm so alone. You know nothing about animals to begin with, because wolves aren't lone wolf. Like, a lone wolf was a wolf that got kicked out of its pack in trying to find another pack. A lone wolf only stays a lone wolf for a couple months at most, and then it will either join another pack or most likely die because it can't sufficiently hunt and keep itself alive. That manipulation is so wrong. And whenever it came to like dragons, I keep seeing these stupid things about them being like these hoarding, like there was the lore about them hoarding all these jewels and like eating stones and eating things. There's different types of dragons and how like each one is like this happy and so like I always noticed that at least the correlation was either the dragons are evil or dragons are logical. There's either the wisdom lore about dragons, or there's the scary hoarding lore. You have both sides. So whenever I see these like really cute, like, oh, it's like this nice little dragon. Now outside of, say, children's things like How to Train Your Dragon, which, if you give me a like little toothless doll, I will go from being me to a 5-year-old girl in 10 seconds going, it's so cute. Like, I love adorable dragon stuff, but the things on Tumblr, whenever I was searching dragons and stuff like that, because I still do like dragon lore and still do like photos of dragons, and as bad as Tumblr is, they are really good at finding artwork of dragons and finding like really, really obscure things that I love to read. But just it's so cringy to me to read all this, especially going through a lot of that stuff whenever I was younger, and praying that these people still come out of it. Like, I hope that there is no more Otherkin stuff, even if I had a couple positive experiences in my past, because the negative was way worse. The negative aspects of the guild turning on me, on the fact that I was questioning my own sanity, on the fact that I had social issues and that I was just filling those social issues by lying to myself. Like, the amount of horrible things that happened due to being Otherkin were way worse than all the positives. And while I have to acknowledge the positive parts of it, because it made me a better person, and it made me a stronger person, and it got me through a couple things, the negative aspects were not worth it, especially knowing that whenever I release this video, people are going to second guess pretty much everything that I say now, knowing that that was part of my history. And it's good for me to get it out there that this is who I am and what I've went through. But yeah, so that's pretty much the very basic storyline, and I know that this video is like 30 minutes long now, going on 31 right now. And I know there was a lot of rambling, and I probably am missing a huge section of things. I'm missing things about training, I'm missing different things that I've learned, and I'm missing a lot of stuff. But feel free to ask me anything. I might make a video on any questions about the Otherkin community that I at least experienced, and I'll post it to the page. I'll be like, look, I was an Otherkin, ask me these questions. Now, the reason why I picked the name Otherkin, like Dragonkin, for the page as well, was to make fun of it and show a focus. Whenever I started working on the page, with Bird Jesus and Doofus and Jake and Felix were the admins at the time. I picked up the name, and then it became more and more of a brand thing for me. Like, I wanted to start my own page, and I wanted to really focus on how horrible this community was, because that was the closest affiliation. I didn't have the super big issues with feminism at the time. I had an issue with a lot of their stuff, but it wasn't the most horrible thing that I've read. I had issues with different social justice communities. Black Lives Matter wasn't even a thing whenever the page was started. But it was pretty much just anti-social justice, anti-feminism, and anti-transgender. We were very accepting of trans people, but we were very unaccepting of the transgender community. And I actually got from my old position of thinking one thing about the trans community to another by being part of the page, and I very much thank the page for getting me on that side of the argument and listening to so many great voices from the anti-side, the anti-social justice side, that agree with trans issues, and it became such a huge issue for me because I have friends that are trans that can't stand the social justice warriors, and it's nice that I'm being a voice for a lot of people that I care about in a lot of ways. So anyway, if you guys have any questions on the Dragonkin name, on different personalities that I had, I didn't even get into the names of my dragons or how I established them or what type, or if you have any questions on dragons in general. I fucking love talking mythology. I love talking the different cultures and how they saw and depicted dragons. If you have any questions on the Otherkin community, if you have any questions on any single thing that I might have hit on, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you want to just insult me, I'm going to say that I left this community 5-6 years ago. I want to say 5 years ago now. So I've accepted that I was an idiot 5 years ago. But if you want to still insult me for being an idiot 5 years ago, by all means, please do. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. Thank you all for watching. I'm I'm sorry it kept getting darker. I'm driving in the dark. It's now 10 o'clock. I've still got about an hour and a half more to drive to get to my destination. So this will probably be up tomorrow or sometime this week. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I will talk to you all later. Have a good day.